All right. So we're just going to do a recap of the last class. Um, all right. So I'm just going to ask some trivial questions. And I'll be asking around. I think both of you were in class. So I want to know if you guys were paying attention. So last time we looked on AI and we looked at LLMs. Like we looked about like AI to just understand what it is, a kind of like a big picture view of AI, and then we looked inward into LLMs. So if I'm to ask, what class of models are LLMs? Are they classification models? Are they predictive models? Are they clustering models? Are they sequence models? Are they generative models? Who wants to answer that question? Um, Patrick, can you attempt it?
I didn't get your question.
I'm talking about learning language models. What kind of AI model? What class of AI model are they? Are they under classification model? Are they under predictive models? Are they under clustering models? Are they under sequence models? Or are they under generative models?
Remember the generative method.
All right, thanks. All right. So, all right. We're going to be looking at a very important, very interesting topic. Model context protocols. And I want to ask who here has heard about context protocols, MCPs, signified by raising up your hand if you've heard about them. Nobody here has heard about context protocols. Okay. Mm, okay, um, just imagine now that you want to have a model that can, um, tell how do I put it now? You want a model that can actually um you want a model to be able to also like do some things for you. So let's say you have an AI model and you have some data in your Excel file. Now, like in your Google Sheets file, normally what people normally do is that they just copy the data in their Google Sheets file, they just paste it in ChatGPT or Claude or whatever LLM they are using, and ChatGPT analyzes it, creates a new folder, and you now copy it from there and paste it there. What model context protocols enable you to do? They go further than just boosting the model accuracy. What they enable you to do in essence is that they enable you to also not just have access to the tables or the cells in your Google Sheets, but also to be able to like update them or to be able to like take inference from them without you having to pass it directly into your AI model. So just imagine now that You want to do like a sales report, you want to do like a sales graph, you want to do sales forecasting for like your income, your monthly, monthly earnings. I want to know like how much is entering in, how much is leaving, the average, and you want to know what products are doing the best and the kind of products you need to continue. No, but doing those analysis might take you time. And so your solution is, oh, I don't want to waste time in doing this. I just want to get the quick insights into this data, and you can just copy it and paste it in your what's the name, in your AI model, and the AI model now say, okay, based on this is the issue, and every other stuff. But the issue is with that is that you're having to do the work of copying and pasting it, and sometimes there might be other tables in your, like, let's say you're trying to do a cap table. Obviously, there'll be expenditure table, there'll be sales table, there'll be inventory table, there'll be different kinds of table, and you just want to know what is your income, like your daily income and every other stuff, for your spend rate and every other stuff around there. Now you find those tables one by one, because some of those tables can be up to 1,000 rows or multiple rows. You don't want to be doing that all the time. That's where model context protocols does. It doesn't just increase the accuracy of your AI model, it also helps you to be more productive in your work. So I'm just going to give you the definition real fast. I'm hoping that we don't spend too much time. Highest, this is what's MCP. Some of you must have heard about MCP, some of you might not have. But MCP means model context protocol. Is an open standard to standardize how AI applications, especially large language models and AI agents, communicate and integrate with external services, tools, databases, data sources. Think of it as a USB-C of for AI. Like your USB, you want to connect a device to your computer, you need to use a USB to connect that device to your computer, so your computer can communicate with that device, or you connect through it. Let's say USB, because USB is the most common one. If you have movies on a hard drive and you want to get those movies from the hard drive, or you want to know about the movies in the hard drive, you need the hard drive to be connected to your computer. And the way you connect the hard drive to your computer is connected to a USB port, through a USB. That's how it is with AI. Sometimes AI needs access to some data that's specific to your needs and every other stuff. That's where model context protocols is. So you can use it to do AI workflows, and you can use it to do specific tasks. And this is where in the more, because we're going to be, from Wednesday, we're going to be having our premium classes. So for you guys that are here, I will encourage you guys to pay so you don't miss out on our premium classes, because we're going to be going more practical. We're going to do more in-depth and very like automation stuff. In fact, we're going to be doing something with WhatsApp, where we'll be making a WhatsApp bot that handles sales end to end, without you even having to do anything, to handle sales with the customer. The customer comes in and handles the sales just on his own. But you guys need to understand how some of these things work. Model context protocols gives the AI like extra insight into some of that tools. So you're working with ChatGPT, you're working with Claude and every other stuff. So let me just give you an example now. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Let me just open the tab for ChatGPT. Mhm. So here's the interface for ChatGPT. I just opened it. So we're all conversing with ChatGPT because that's the most popular AI um large language model. That's the most popular large language model we did. For those who were not available yesterday, we looked at large language models, we looked at how they work underneath, we looked at how to properly write prompts, we looked at prompt engineering tips. So if you're not there, I'm going to make the videos of each of these sections available so you can watch them. We had a 2-hour class. nearly 2 hours, if not for MTN kicking us out at the last minute because they got jealous of our class. But that notwithstanding, so this is an AI this is. So you notice something here. You notice what they call tools here. Now these tools can do different things. You can have usually have a tool that can create images. You have a tool that can do deep research, and you can have a tool that can draw things and every other stuff or search the web. Now let me say see I want to does somebody have a question? Okay. Let me say I want to know what's wrong with my spelling picnic? Ah, sorry. In Enugu. I could always spell picnic until today. In Enugu this week. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT this. So for some reasons, I don't know if to check the web, but let me see. Okay, searching the web. So obviously it was able to search the web and get this kind of stuff. So but let's say um yeah, so let's say it doesn't have access to the web. So I'm just going to create a new one and I'm going to use a model. And what I'll just do is I'll tell it this is just it because by default normally want to check the web. What's the best time for okay, do you know what I'll say? Please, who is available for the picnic tomorrow on Friday? I want to host a get together with them. So now it will tell you one thing. I tell you that it doesn't have access to this information, doesn't have access to your contacts or calendar. You cannot see who's available on Friday unless you give me a list of people you're thinking about inviting and the specific team or calendar. It can't do anything concerning them. So this is one thing about AI. AI doesn't have access to all things. You have to give it access to some certain things so it's be able to know, okay, who is available, who is this, who is available for this, who's available for that. If you don't give it access to some certain data, it can't do such a thing, it can't know such a thing. So let me say um what's the best place to get picnic food on Friday and check the web. So it's going to say, all right, it's going to just use local knowledge. So obviously, it's just going to use local knowledge, and with this local knowledge, it cannot be very helpful to you because you might not know which one is open or which one is not open. I don't know if this is the best example, but in different cases, let's say you want to make like sales, you want to do your sales data, you want to understand some certain things. There are areas in which you need models, like you need these open source models. So you need these model context protocols to come in so it can help you to understand more deeply what context you should check, what you should understand. Like I explained last time, if I go back to the escalator diagram I made, how AI models work. So let me share this tab. So you have, when you talk about the prompt, it has a role, it has the instruction that comes in with the prompt, it has a context. So the AI needs a context to be able to work, and it has it from for it to get this context, it needs a source. And from that source, it's able to um work on it, process it, and give you out an output which has a format and a style. Now we learned about ICU and the rest of all this, and also looked at open source models and all the rest of them. But now we're trying to look at how model context protocols work. So we want to understand the architecture of it. So how does it work in this sense? So now I'm going to go to more diagrams. So so I'm just trying to look for a very good use case of where this is possible. So let's say you want a travel planning agent. You want the AI to become a travel planning agent for you. So you need a travel planning assistant. Maybe you want ChatGPT to be your and your your travel planning assistant. Now, if you just put this there and tell ChatGPT to just make travel plans for you, obviously ChatGPT will come up with any type of travel plans, and ChatGPT might now say, okay, since based on my distance, let me say Thursday. By Thursday will be a good time for you to travel. Now, there are different things you need to know. There are different contexts you need for this travel distance. There are different contexts, and the context you need to know. So I'm going to say the context. So just imagine that this big bubble now is the context that AI needs to work. So now the first context it will need is it will need to know um so this is the context. I'm going to call this the context. But the AI will need to know number one is the sorry, let me put flights available for you to travel. So the available flights, let's say you're traveling by air. Um Also another thing you will need to you to know, it will need to know is also your calendar. Understand, like your plans, what your schedule is like. So you'll say your schedule. And another thing we need to also know is um also the weather. You might also need to know the weather. So whether it's a very good time to travel, although it's not very important, but let me just put it here. So in this context, these three things. Now, if AI is not checking the web and is not searching like normally, let's say you have a local model that is running, especially let's say you're using an open source model that is running, or using a model that you made for yourself or your company is using, that it just has context to what the company data is, doesn't have context of a lot of things. Um, it won't have context of flights available, it won't have context of your schedule, it doesn't know your schedule. Obviously, no AI will know your schedule unless you give it like access to that information. I do have weather stuff. That's the aspect of where you call tools. So, like I explained yesterday, you have when you talk about AI models, they need a source that gives them the context of where to go from, and from there they can form the desired output you want. So you want it to make a travel plan for you, so you can travel to like wherever you want to travel, and maybe like the activities you need to do, book the tickets and every other stuff. like booking the tickets and every other thing you need to do. So it needs access to the flights available, even the airline company and all this kind of thing. It doesn't have access to that. For it to have access to that, you have to give it that access. So it needs to get that from different sources. So it needs to get that from different sources. So let's say it's going out from different sources to get that. Now, if you don't have a well-arranged source, you can just get any random source that you might need. And if you search the internet, you might just get some random sources. But let's say you're working for a company and the availability time for the company and every other stuff. The company has a calendar and it also has like the kind of airlines they use, the airlines they have deals with, and the hotels they also have bookings with and every other stuff. You don't want the LLM to just start going to the internet and just sourcing things anyhow. You need it to be arranged in such a form that it's very well informed of what it needs to what it needs to happen, like what it needs to the data it needs to gather. Now, this is where this is where MCPs come in, where you have the NCP architecture. So what the NCP architecture is, you have your LLM. So I'm just going to put this as a box as LLM. So this is a large language model. I'm just going to increase this a bit. I think this is too big, but can we reduce the size? So yeah. So I'm just going to increase the size a bit. So you have this LLM, and this LLM will need to have access to, number one, it needs to have access to flight information. So let's say it needs access to flight information. It needs access to the what else does it need access to? It needs access to your schedule or your calendar or your schedule. It may need access to like your important appointments or any other stuff. But I just want to, why am I doing this the other way? But I also need access to what's the name? Your whatever it's called. Now, one thing about doing this is that if you don't have a model context protocol like you've made for this specific stuff, it also needs access to what else did I mention? The weather. Now, if you don't have a model, like if you don't have a without models context protocol, it needs to do this specifically one by one. So normally this could take the AI time to kind of find out this information. First of all, it will do a long search for flight information. So it will go to the internet, iFlying, to go to the internet, like try and start fetching if flight information that's available, try to look for airlines that are available, like the closest ones, doesn't even know exactly what your distance is. It's not tell you, hey, I found the flight information, paste your schedule, tell me your schedule for the next distant days. You now come and type in your schedule and every other stuff, taking extra time. It now go to now check the weather. Oh, okay, like this will be the best time to travel. These are the best time to travel to this part and every other stuff to hold the event. Maybe it's an outdoor event you want to hold and every other stuff. So this is the complexity that comes with large language models, especially when you want to plan this kind of event, when you want to do this kind of things, you want to do this kind of event planners. Now, in a way, you have it going to source flight information and every other stuff. Now, all this stuff can be captured in one single interface, and that's where NCP comes in. So you cannot have the NCP interface, which is what you call the NCP. This is what you call the NCP interface. So I'm going to write this. This is the NCP interface that will now get the information from different sources. So you have source one. This is not how sources are representable. You have source one. I'm just going to duplicate this source two and source three. So source one, source two, and source three. Now, with this interface now, the LLM does not need to now go far to search the internet and say, okay, when will your flight be ready? The LLM will just simply interface with this model context protocol through there's kind of like an exchange that happens. There's a JSON protocol, there's a JSON setup that you normally set up for this to happen. But most times you don't need to set it up, you can just install it and add some add-ons to it. A tool like Claude Desktop has interface to add model context protocols for popular tools like Zapier, just many different tools, even including Google Calendar and every other stuff. So this your model context protocol now, this interface now goes to these different sources to pick up the information. And once it picks up the information, so it picks up the information from these different sources. So let's say to these different sources now. And now when it picks up the information, let's say it could also write to them. So it could write, let's say it's writing to your calendar, creating a calendar time of the best time you can travel. So this is something that model context protocols can do. So we're going to see it in practice soon. But let me just give this analogy now. Just imagine now that you have a message that you want to speak, you want to give to different people. Are you following? We have a message that you want to give to different people. And let's say these different people come from different parts of Nigeria, but they cannot speak English. They can only speak their own native language. So you have one person speak that can only speak maybe Tiv, another person can speak um Yoruba, another person can speak Hausa. And you know, okay, I don't speak any of this language. So I need somewhere that can interpret for me. So what you now do is that you can look for one interpreter. You say, okay, hey, you come and help me interpret this. You'll be my interpreter for this person. You be my interpreter for this person. You be my interpreter for this person. And this is how you guys will communicate. Now, it's going to be very hard because you have to tell the person, you have to tell the interpreter, each of the interpreters the same thing, and they have to now interpret your message to to each of them, each particular person. And when they give their inputs, when they tell you ask their question, each of them comes to you separately to ask their question. So number one is that you have to pay each of the interpreters money. So let's say you're going to pay them for an interpreter, you're paying them around let's say 50,000 naira to interpret. So 50,000, that's 150,000 naira to interpret all your messages to the three different people that you want to the three different people you want to communicate, group of people you want to communicate to. Now imagine that you have an interpreter that can speak these three different languages. The interpreter can speak Tiv, can speak Hausa, and can speak Yoruba. Now you don't need to now waste your time. You can just give the message to that interpreter and say, spread this message to all of them. And that interpreter will just get the message, communicating Tiv to the Tiv guy, communicating Hausa to the Hausa person, communicating in Yoruba to the Yoruba person. And when they ask all their questions together, the person can gather it together and communicate it to you, give you a summary of the question in one simple English. That's how NCPs are. This is simply what NCPs are in the short term. So there are different types of NCPs, depending on different tools. So you have different types of NCPs, and especially if you're a developer, if you work in code or you're into accounting or you're into sales, I think you need to pay attention to this. Unfortunately, the market right now is of NCPs is towards developers right now, but they're still trying to make tools like easier for people to work with to understand it. So let's explore the architecture. I just explained how it is, the interface is in a big overview. But let's explore the architecture of how NCPs actually work. So so you have the NCP client. So I don't know why is my text becoming too small. So you have the you have the clients. Let's say you have the clients. Um, so you have the client. It could be the LLM. It could be whatever it's doing. Um, Now, the clients will go and communicate with the server. So whatever server is, whether in your system, whatever it is, this is the server. So think of the server as where the stuff that does the operations for you. So if you're into web development or you've done web development before, or you don't know about web development, let me just explain like this concept in web development of client and server in web development and software engineering and software design, because it's very good to understand the relationship between a server and how they communicate to each other, like return information to each other. So they normally communicate to each other. The client communicates and the server. So this is the client and this is the server. And server will get his information from probably APIs or data sources. So one data source could be a database. Another data source could be a kind of like an API, an external API. Another data source could be like a document or something like that. So these are different data sources that your server is trying to source information for, process it, and return it to the client in such a way that it can understand what you're trying to say. So now let's say what am I trying to do now? So let me explain what server and client is for like in the web development sense. For those who are not conversant with client and server for web development, the client, let's imagine that you're in your browser now. You're trying to go to www.maybe facebook.com. Now that your browser is what you call the client. Are you following? That's the client side. That's the aspect that is trying to get information from Facebook, like the interface of Facebook, the data, your friends' information, the post, everything in Facebook. So the client requests will send a request via the internet, by HTTP, by different protocols. Are you following different protocols? And the protocol it used to send that request is what you call HTTP or HTTPS. That's hypertext transfer protocol. Are you following? That's the protocol it used to communicate to a server, like Facebook's server. Now, Facebook server will process that request, and maybe the request is to fetch me facebook.com. That's the request your browser is telling facebook.com. Give me this data, facebook.com. Now, the server will process that data and fetch that information, and it's not check, okay, what user is asking for it, what account is this, what device is it coming from, and sends that information to your back to your browser. Now your browser will now process that information really fast and display to you that Facebook page. This is just a high level overview of how a server and client work. So the client will ask for, hey, I need this resource from you. The server will check, do I have this resource? Okay, I have this resource. Let me give it to you in a way that will make sense to you. You guys understand now. This is how a server and client and work. So in that same situation, that's how NCPs work. So instead NCP, you have your client. So this client can be an AI app and your custom AI chat app. So your custom AI chat bots. I think by Thursday we're going to make a chat bot. So but it's going to be a paid class. It's not going to be free because um the stuff we're going to be learning, we're going to be using a lot of resources and it's not going to be a free class. So I enjoy you to enroll for, let me just share the page with you guys. Enroll for this thing for the class. It's going to be a really fun experience. We're going to on on Wednesday, that's tomorrow, it's going to be hands-on where you guys will have to be doing things yourself. So we're looking at working with an open source model. This is very important. If in case you're working in a company, you don't want your company's data to be all around the internet. You don't want OpenAI to have access to your sensitive company data, especially if you work in a healthcare healthcare organization or a government organization or organization that deals with very sensitive data like a bank. You don't want information from the bank to be all over the internet. You need it to be secure. You don't want people to be doing anything with it because of like some legal reasons and some other stuff. Using an open source model is something that you need to consider using. And also, we're going to be looking at also automating repetitive and workflows using AI agents. Well, we're looking more into what AI agents are, see how useful they are, and how to create your own. But you like in this class, we're going to creating our own, and the instructor is obviously not here. He said he was going to be in the class, but he was going to be a bit late. He's not here yet. But let's see if he shows up. But he's from tomorrow, from Wednesday. He's going to be the one instructing you guys because he's very vast in AI. He has been doing this for like a number of years, even before ChatGPT became very mainstream. So we're going to go very practical. We're going to be using N8N, a powerful open source tool for automation. And it's not, you don't need to code. There's no code that's going to be involved. It's just going to be drag and drop. There's going to be GUI stuff, but it's going to be very effective because it can serve as an alternative means of having income, especially if you're trying to look for something that can gain you income while in the meantime, or you want to look for something that can earn you passive income. This is something that if you really master how it works, it can go. Look at building your own chatbot agent and also looking at AM fine-tuning and refining that, making your own custom AI. Or we're going into more technical details about like AI stuff. So I will say you guys should pay for this. A lot of this AI knowledge that is going right now can really set you apart from the entire market and can make you stand out. So I'm going to share the link. If you've not registered now, you can still register. I'm offering a discount code for those who want to register in this thing. So it's going to be 50% off if you want to register. From tomorrow, every class is going to be paid. Even if we have one person, we're going to just take them in class and every other stuff. Me, I keep to my word. If I say I'm holding a training and one person, only one person signs up, I won't say because of just one person signs up, I'm going to close the class. I'm going to ensure that every single person. So use AI50, the code AI50 to get 50% off. And this time to gain you access to the rest of the class. Gilbert, you have a question? Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Uh,
evening.
it's been an amazing session. Thank you so much, Emeka. So I just wanted to ask, are we paying per session or is it for the entire series?
It's for the entire series. It's for the entire series. You're paying for the entire series. So it's for the
Okay.
entire series. So recordings, also like templates and materials will also be provided. Also like access to some source codes that you might need. For example, the source code I'm working with today, I made an NCP that can source the weather. I was trying. Let me see if I can extend it to actually create events and every other stuff because that's the goal. I'm going to extend it. It's just that I was running into some errors, but I think I will be able to debug it and work on it to be able to do this kind of stuff. But I think we'll go into live demo really soon. Well, hope you guys understand the concept of NCPs I explained right now. If there's anything confusing, you can ask a question. All right. So right. I want to go practical. Um, NCP is a relatively new stuff. So one thing about NCPs is that there's a protocol in which it works. Just like you have like just like you have in like web development or in web communication, there are different communication protocols. So this is how an AI will communicate to the interface that you want it to provide the information for you. So let's say any single stuff, there's always protocols to it. So when you talk about protocols, like you're doing file transfer, there's what you call the FTP protocol. That's the protocol for transferring files to on our file. Everything has a protocol. Every single communication on the internet has a protocol. That's why you have things like IP, all this kind of stuff, HTTP, UDP, FTP, a lot of stuff. I can't go into it. I don't want to go into the aspects. I'm not into networking. If you talk to networking people, they'll tell you about all the protocols they are, even in blockchain itself, all this crypto that you're talking about, there are protocols that help them work. There are blockchain protocols that make them work. So these are protocols, these are principles of communication in which things have to communicate to each other. So if you want to understand protocol, especially if you're technical, you want to understand it more, or you're not technical, you just want to know how to get used to it. I enjoy you check out this website, model context protocol.io. It's a very important like it explains what NCPs, how NCPs work, and the basic stuff. I can even use some of the diagrams and some of the docs here to kind of explain a bit more. But I'd say I enjoy that you check out this website. It's going to explain a lot more than I will be able to ever cover. It's also going to explore the architecture in very big detail and some other stuff. Like I just explained the brief architecture of it, the client, the server, also the host, whatever it is. But normally it's just me, I just deal with the client and server, which is most of this thing. If you talk about host, that's when you're dealing with agents, especially if you're working with an agent, you have a host. But right now we're not dealing with agents, we're still dealing with normal chatbots. So we're not going to be talking about host. But you can read about this, you can read about the protocols, you can read about every other stuff. You can check out the video, you can check out helpful prompts that can help you with your all this kind of stuff. You can check out resources. There are different kinds of stuff that can help with your understanding how model protocol and model context protocols is. So I enjoy you read this. And there are also libraries that work with it. So for Python, there's an NCP. Let me check out the fast NCP library, fast NCP GitHub. So if you want to build your own custom NCP, there is the fast NCP library, which is out and it's available. But there are still common NCPs. For example, I just want to do a quick search for common NCP servers. So you have a website called awesomescpservers.org that will talk about the common NCP servers that are all available. So I want to explore this. I think is only available on that VPN. So let me just open my VPN. I hope it doesn't affect the connection of this call. Okay, it's not loading. So you can check this website out. It shows you common NCP. So there are different NCP servers, especially for different kinds of stuff. If for example, Airtable, which we're going to be exploring today, we're going to be looking at Airtable servers, but there are different stuff. Most of these are for developers, but if you want to look at different things like search, you want to go into like something like search, you need to know like Agora is the search stuff, RX IV. If you guys know this stuff, this is for research. This is where all the research papers are. If you want to get a research paper on any particular topic, you can get this here. There are NCP servers for different kinds of stuff. And you can look more about this. I think this is an example of that. I think there are more popular ones. So there's different NCP servers. In fact, there's different NCP servers. So you can check this out. You can also build your own, which is what we'll be going into. There are different NCP servers. So you can check out different types of NCP servers and how to use them. You can read their details. You can click to read their details, and it will have the config on how they work and how to use it with Claude desktop. So if you're working with NCP servers, there are 3 different places you can integrate them right now that is very, very popular. So the first one is Claude desktop. I just want to open Claude desktop. Claude desktop. So I have Claude desktop on my system. You can also install it if you want to. I advise that if you want to like get hands-on on how Claude works and any other stuff, how this thing works, I think you need to install Claude desktop. You can do a lot of things, although I don't allow it to like control my computer for me, but a lot of people can do that. They can like automate their processes, like have Claude like make social media posts for them, do a lot of things for them without them having to touch their computers. But me, I have trust issues, so I don't do that. And I'm also like concerned for my safety and some other things. I don't want AI to be sniffing through my work and be doing some other stuff. But so anything I want to give it to access to, I have to give it permission. But you can go to this website, Claude Desktop. You can just check for Claude Desktop and download Claude Desktop on your laptop. So yeah, so right now we want to make a planner that can plan events for us. So let's say we have a group of people and we have a planner. So I've been able to create something around it that will help us with it. So let me just open my Airtable real quick. So I'm going to open my Airtable. If you guys are used to Airtable, it's kind of like an Excel alternative that I work with. It's what I use for like creating simple tables and similar stuff. It has an AI feature right now. So I have contacts of different people. You guys can see this, right? You can see I have contacts of different people, their emails and their phone numbers and where they live in. So obviously this contact is fake. The only real contact here is my contact. The rest of them are fake. But what I want to do is that I want to send out invites to them. I want to also find out who is in Enugu, who is in Abuja, all this kind of stuff. Count, like do some specific things with them. So for me to have access to that, one thing I can do is I can either decide to, for me to work with this in a LLM, I can decide to either come here and and export the data, export the table. How do I export again? There's a way to export. No. I can come here and decide to export. How do I export again? Tools, export my tables. So I can decide to copy this my table one by one and decide to export it to in a CSV format to like whatever I want to export it in, and like export my table. I think I can actually right click here and export my table. But they removed that feature to export table. I haven't opened this feature in a while. I think I'll find it out later, but that's not important. But let's say I have a large spreadsheet. I can export all the tables here. Um why I want to use Airtable is because I tried Google Sheets, but Google Sheets is a little bit more complicated to use. So I discovered that Airtable is kind of the easy one. So Airtable has NCP server. I don't have an official NCP server, but it has NCP server. So when I searched for Airtable NCPs, I was able to come across this NCP server that was made by this guy, Dogomeg. So he was able to make an NCP server that can connect to different. You can connect it to different tools. Like you can connect it to Claude desktop. You can connect it to Cursor. You can connect it to Climb. Different kinds of tools. If you guys let me explain what this is. You guys know what Claude desktop is. It's like an alternative to ChatGPT. But this time around you download the app on your laptop. There's also Cursor. If you want to use Cursor, there's also Cursor you can use. There's also Climb. Climb is a tool for coding. It's a code helper. If you're a developer using NCPs, especially with using Figma NCP, can help you like integrate your designs really fast. Especially if you want to you want AI to like help you build a website really fast without you like doing a lot of stuff. You can tell the AI to use connect the NCP of your design to Claude or whatever tool you're using, and tell it to design it for you. So we're going to add a server to our distance. So if you how do we do this? So I'm going to be sharing, I think I'll share my entire screen from now. So I'll show you guys everything. So obviously I'm going to be making some mistakes here and there, but I'm going to be trying to like fix my mistakes as we go on, because don't worry, you guys can see my entire screen, right? Can't share a screen. Okay.
Can't see your screen.
Um, my screen is not allowing me to share it. Yeah. How do I do it now? Not. I'm going to do it window by window. Can you guys see my screen? Not yet. Okay. All right. So this is very good. All right. So um, this is what I'm working with. I'm working from this browser, and I have my VS Code here, and I have this Claude config here. So I'm just going to close some of this. In fact, I'm just going to close a lot of this right now. I'll leave this open. This is my local. So I have a local NCP, and I have a distinct NCP. So for you to get started with NCPs, especially if you're using Claude, you need to go to Claude Desktop. Let me allow once. So sorry, could not record two results. Never. I need to record anything. So I'm going to go to settings, and for you to use the tool, you have to go to settings. You go to developer. Obviously, my own is more like this thing, and you can add tools. So right now I have an NCP running. That's event NCP. But I'll say edit config. So if you do to edit config, it will show you this Claude config, Claude desktop config.json. So I don't know why they show you this kind of stuff, but and they don't really open it in the A like this thing, but you don't blame them. They're just quite too lazy for that. So I want to set up Airtables NCP. So I'll just go to Airtables NCP, and would this involve me? Would this really need me to like install this repository? Um all right, so there's a way it's telling me I can go to extensions and I can search for I should browse extensions and look for Airtable. So this Airtable NCP here, right here. So this is Airtable NCP, and checking requirements. I want to use this, and I'll say install. So obviously in Claude, you can install different NCPs. You can install different NCPs. So I want to install this Airtable NCPs because it's available for this Figma NCP. There are different NCPs I can install, but I'm going to try and install this. I'll click on install. Yeah, so add my Airtable key. Right now I have a personal key I made. It's in this .env for Airtable, so I'm just going to paste it here. So this key just has access to my what's the name, to my events table for no reason. Please don't expose your API keys to the public. Right now, what I'm doing right now, why I'm exposing this one to the public is because it has limited access to my resources. It has limited access to all my resources. So disabled, I'm going to enable it, and I'm going to close it right now. So we have this NCP connected, and I'm just going to say I want to check my events planner table for everyone in Enugu. Now, you need to try and say, okay, what does he have to do to get this information? Hope it works out of the box. So pondering, say standby. It's supposed to tell me to use the tool. So it's going to say, okay, it doesn't know how to get this. Can I check your Airtable NCP and try to get the list of tools that are here? So I'll say allow once, and it's going to try and get the people in Enugu. So okay, so I'll say allow once. All right, so it's going to try and get the details. Wow. All right, so search my records. Now it's trying to now get the details of everyone in Enugu. I'm on search now. So I don't know if this is working very well. I think it's an issue. It says structure. Didn't find the record Enugu in the search. Okay, you know what? There's no record Enugu. You know what? Let me just decline for now and say you should not worry. I'm just going to stop this process. Since the bug from Claude, it doesn't stop process. I'm just going to close, decline this. No, not delete. Sorry. I think create the event for me. That's funny. So, all right. So I'm just going to check for the name of the table. So obviously my prompt wasn't very specific enough. So I'm just going to check for the name of the table. Where's my air table? Where's the access I gave it? So I'm going to check my air table. Where's my air table? You know, I'm just going to search for air table now. Open it. So what's the name of the table? Contacts. So obviously I'm going to do this. Obviously, if I wrote this software myself, I would have made it a little bit better. Check the contacts table and get everyone in Enugu and get the name of everyone from Enugu. Allow. So now it has gotten the names of everyone in Enugu and it's listing them out here. So I have 20 contacts that are from Enugu, and this is accurate because I created 20 contacts from Enugu. So now you can see that it has access to this data and every other stuff. So I'm going to ask it how many people are from Port Harcourt. Obviously, this is a very simple example. More complex examples will mean going to databases and some other stuff, but I don't want to do that because it's sensitive information I'll be dealing with. I don't want to deal with sensitive information. I just want to use just information that I can play with right now. So you're seeing that just 10 people are from Port Harcourt, which if I check my table, I don't know if that is true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's true. 10 people are from Port Harcourt. So this one fun thing you can do with Claude. So now I want to say, so let me say right now. So this is one thing you can do with Claude and every other stuff. So let me ask Claude, can you get the weather in Enugu right now? So let me see if Claude will ask to use my own tool. So it's not asking to use my tool. So let me, before I tell you what this is, I made a tool, I made a simple NCP that what the NCP does is that I wrote the code myself. Let me increase the size of this. Obviously, I'll make this available in GitHub soon. I'll just testing it to see why it works and to do all this kind of stuff. So I created a simple NCP server, obviously a simple NCP server that could tell the weather and also get the weather from every other stuff. So you can read the code. I didn't write so much comments there, but the first one is that it makes a request. It makes weather requests. So this is the root function that makes the weather request for different stuff, location, Celsius, the forecast days. Can also get current weather and some other things. Get current weather and some other stuff. So there are different functions you can call. You can either get current weather, which will get the current weather of the particular city. It can forecast the weather for the week. So you can get all the weather for the week, or like whether it's going to rain in the week and every other stuff. You can get the weather by the date, or it can also there are some other things you can do. So I didn't add, it's just three functions. I just add three major functions I just wanted to do right now. So I'll say allow once. So it's going to try and get the weather, getting current weather in Enugu. Right now, it says that the weather in Enugu is 24 degrees and it's just rainy showers, the winds, all this kind of stuff. I don't know how accurate it is because right now it's not raining my side, but I don't know if it's raining. Like, who else stays in Enugu? Is it raining your side? Well, I think it rained today. It rained a little bit today. Well, this is just general weather in Enugu for today. So obviously we can't tell how accurate it is, but let's just say this is so. This is how it is right now. This is how it works. So right now I want to do something. I want to create an event. So this is where it now comes in. This is where everything now comes in, culminates in. So I want to find the best day. So now I want to give the AI a role. I'm going to use prompt engineering right now to give the AI a role of an event plan, and I want to get the best day for an event and invite everyone in Enugu to come for that event, and put like the name of the event and every other stuff. So how do I do that right now? So I could write a function that says invite people. So I'm going to create an MCP function. I'll say at mcp.tools async def invite people. So this will invite people. It's going to do their it's going to have just their emails as a list of string. If you guys are not used to Python or not used to programming, just don't mind what I'm doing. And the event name. So the event name just be a string. And now I'm just going to, this is just AI helping me write, but for now, I'll say for, what is this? Huh. All right. So I'll say for email in emails. I can use the open source library called render. So I'm just going to try and add render here or some other stuff. But let me say I'll just print out email. I'm just going to create a function called send email that just sends email that says send email to def send email to this, inviting you to turn true. So sending email to this with subject this and body whatever. So send email brackets to this person. I'm not bothering to write too much. Login invitation sent to this person. Oh, I don't need to type this again because this has been done. And whatever it is. So login.info. So I don't need to send all of this again. So let's see what we could do with this. So I can say, let me see if it knows like, so I want to say you are an event planner. You know what? I will actually try to see why this works. If this doesn't work very well, like I don't see the logs out, then I'll try and send an actual email. So you're an event planner, please send emails to these contacts to an event planner. An event planner. I want to host, and if I want to know I want to host an event when the weather is best conducive this week for an outdoor picnic in Enugu. I want you to send an invitation to everyone in Enugu to join the event. Also, create a record of the event in the events table. So I just told the AI what to do. I just showed it a prompt of what to do. Let me see why it's going to do this very effectively. I'll help you. So say allow. So it's going to do, it's going to try and get the weekly forecast. Can see now it's trying to get the weekly forecast of the weather in this thing. So you can see what the function does. It takes in, it's trying to get the weather in Enugu and trying to like get the weekly forecast for Enugu. So I'll say allow once. And let's see how it goes. Obviously, I'm not sure whether it's going to work very well, like the new functions I wrote, because I haven't tested it out. But let's just see. Allow one. So it says that Friday will be the best time. Friday or Sunday. So perfect. Now to create a record for outdoor picnic. So it's going to create a record in my on my Airtable this thing. I'm going to look at it in real time. It's adding the location, Unity Park, time and the date. So let's see how it works. So drafting artifacts. So all right. So it didn't really create the event. It just gave me this thing. So let me see why it added that to the table. So I'm going to go to my events table. Yeah, you can see now it added that to the table. The only thing it didn't do, which I've not really provided like this thing for it to do, like you can see now it created an event on my events table. Before this was empty, we created an Enugu outdoor picnic, Unity Park, time is this, and whatever Kiniko. So now it's created a website and every other stuff, which is very nice. You know what? Let me send them an invitation like this. You know what? Let me send them let me try and do this again. I'll tell you to do this again. You know what I'll do? I'll delete this and I'll just try and delete this. I'll also delete this empty table. Delete this record. I want it to be absolutely empty. So I'm going to go here again. I want to see if I can. Let me close Claude Code. I want to see if it has access to all my distance. I'm just going to close it. I'm going to force quit, and I'm going to open it again. Now, I'm going to be turning off my all the same. It doesn't like it's all good. To send emails, that was just the remaining thing, but the rest of the stuff worked. At least like let's go through what we did with Claude. I'm going to investigate why that didn't work, but it was no fault from my side. It's actually a fault from whatever Claude has their developers and every that stuff works with. They can't really their library is incompatible with their system. It's not my fault. So at least we're able to find out how MCPs work. We're able to create an MCP server, Kiniko, like a very simple listen. I was able to send emails to someone, like even created a very simple, a very beautiful email, this thing that we could send emails to people and telling them we're inviting them for a program. blah 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 blah, and it was able to write to the table. So I'm just going to try and do that again. Let me stop presenting first of all. Let me see if I've commented out the code that I've added, the new code I added. Funny thing. I'm going to investigate later, but it's not worth my time, wasting my time going through trying to debug it. When it refuses to work. So let me share my entire screen again. Well, from my investigation, it's definitely a Claude issue. So we're able to do all this kind of stuff. So I want to say let me go to my settings. Sorry, not my system settings, my Claude settings. I'm going to activate Airtable. That was so very funny. You can't tell me it failed. Oh, yeah. Like, so I'm going to activate where's my extensions? Configure, going to activate it again. I'm going to close this. No, I'm just going to come here and close this for real. Hide. I'm going to say add this to Claude. So this has been added to Claude app. When try and no issues. Let me check my tools. All my tools are in part. My NCP planner is intact, and my Airtable NCP is there. So let me say I can get Claude to send emails itself. If Claude can do that, I doubt Claude can. I think Claude can't, but I think I can. So I have a function that can send emails to people. So I'm just going to copy the code here. I've already written the function already, and I'm going to run it. So I'll just copy this. I'll just tell it to get the list of people in Enugu with Gmail with Gmail accounts. All right, so let me see whether it's smart or the AI is still saying out of context. So what table is it going to check for? Oh, is that a table you're going to check? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you kidding me right now? All right, so it got the emails of people with Gmail accounts. So obviously this is the email where we're able to get the weather and we're able to do this kind of stuff. So what I wanted to do, I'm just going to try and do it right now with another. I'm going to open our window. I'm going to open another function. Email sender. And here in here, I'll just write the message. I'll just type out the message in here. And I'll just type out the message in here. So um oh, hello, machine. Um this is all good. I have red pen up on my work. Why is there a red pen here? Oh, hello, this guy. Um I'm just going to copy this. Convert all the styles to inline styles, and I'm going to just paste the code. Nice. So I'm just going to copy the code. This guy and paste it here. Save. Yeah. So I'm just going to run the function. Subject will be picnic updates, and I'm just going to put the contacts here. So are my contacts. You know what? That didn't help. So I'm just going to copy it myself. Connect the email. Copy the email. And make that Allison here. Make Allison 4@gmail.com. I'm just going to comment out all these ones. And for the last one, we have Victor KK. Here. And Victor KK, which was here. And I'm just going to copy the email here. Close this guy for now. The email here. And I'm going to paste it in here. So I'm just going to run the code. I'm going to say Python. There is a py on. All right, email sent. So if we check our emails, discover we have the emails in our Gmail picnic update, and this is a beautiful email that was sent. So that's it for this class. I think for now on we'll be able to get everything we need. So have a good one, everyone. See you in the next class.